And welcome to the Impact of Medals Part 3 in ANB Silver 10. Last time out, Vesuva hit level 68, Kasplat 67. I finished the video without going through the stats purely because it had been a very long video. I think for this one I will go back to some side-by-side comparisons, with the major caveat that individual trials aren't really directly comparable, simply because there's a lot of RNG involved in the size of the map, the mob composition, mob density. Those will have a very big impact on your clear times, but I think it will make for less jumping around and overall look better. So although it's going to be a lot more work in editing, it will make for a shorter video and I think it will look nicer. So if we just take a quick look at Vesuva, their stats are slightly different to what they were at the time that I ran those trials. Reason for that is that it is Tuesday and bronze 10 medals have been issued today, and I collected those because they can sometimes bug out, and if you switch device get lost, and then you have to give Travis some extra work to reissue those medals. So to save him I just added them as soon as they arrived. So that ended on Tuesday last week, and it's taken them 7-8 days to issue medals, which is about typical for an ANB event. Season, I should imagine, is going to be at least another week, possibly longer, purely because there's a lot more work involved for the devs there, removing duplicate characters or multiple characters from the same accounts, as well as looking at exploits and cheats and things. Whether they do actually remove exploiters is another question. So let's take a quick look at the stats. I will say that I think we got, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 more fortitude, definitely got more tenacity. Experience has gone up 1%. I can't remember what else was issued for that. But anyway, with the under leveled gear, we were sitting on 5640 to 7336 damage per hit, 459% damage from our power, haste at 3.6 hits per second, crit rating has fallen to 6.2%. Our vitality is huge. I was a bit lazy in some of those runs, so the character did start taking some damage now. So we're going to start seeing the impact of these vitality and armour more as we start the building of gear to gain some champion levels. Armour is a fraction of a % higher than it was. It's down to 69.8. Experience is all the way up at 1882. I did craft level appropriate gear just for this final part. We'll be making use of the cubes up to trial 60. So these, I'm going to save the jewellery for push, so I shall craft EXP farming jewellery as we go along. So for stats, we're up to 7365 to 9558 damage from the weapons, being more level appropriate. Haste at 3.9, so effectively 3.75. Vitality 10,660, total life 15,731, our armour 72.2% less damage taken, and our experience gained is 2,113. So I shall switch over to Kasplat. We'll do the same comparison there, and then I think it will be a side-by-side comparison of their final troll to reach level 70. So here we are with Kasplat, just to confirm, no medals at all. Let's go back. So our underleveled gear, 5935 to 7694, damage, power 420, haste was down at 3.4, which is 3.25 hits per second in reality. Vitality, we do have some emeralds socketed. Our total life 8875, a lot lower than over on the other character, and our armour at 65.9%. again, we needed some diamonds and the character did die a few times. Experience 1667, so a little bit behind on that as well. If I unsocket these items that are about to be replaced, thankfully we've got 3 sockets with the new gear, so they'll go back in. I think we had armour up there. Let's stick in a couple of vitalities. Where was it? Down the tome. So haste 3.7, effectively 3.5. Damage 6659 to 8669. Our total life stayed 8875, armour 67.9%, so we're about 5% different. When we eventually have GMC weapons, even this gap, even if it was at 5%, it becomes much smaller than that thanks to Elemental Fury, but we'll explain that more when we get to that stage. Experience 1901, so I think we're running about 300% behind, so that's going to start to tell a lot more once we start farming champion levels, but in the grand scheme of things it shouldn't be too much of a difference. The other character will level up more quickly, but then it will hit the point where we need to, or champion level gain will slow dramatically, so it's not going to be a major impact in the grand scheme of things. So I'll get rid of this gear and then set up some side-by-side runs, so back in one moment. Troll 10. Hopefully the characters will hit level 70 with this one. Well, I know they will. I've labelled them so I don't have to keep telling you which is which. I've decided to go back to the side-by-side compare for the runs, although with trials you can't really compare trolls directly. And we can see that both characters are able to kill the enemies with relative ease. But the problem with trials is that the maps will always be different. The layouts, you could have a big map or a small map, very dense mobs. You could have a lot of elites or not many elites, as we have in this case. So we're going to find towards the end, although they're keeping up together quite well at the moment, Vesuva just pulled ahead. There aren't enough mobs out in the open for Kasplat, who's now off on a search for the rest of the mobs to hit 70, whereas Vesuva is now killing Kara. So Kara down for Vesuva, we can get out, they're level 70, and Kasplat's just found the last mobs and going no problem with killing Kara. So let's take a look at their stats now that they are level 70. And welcome back. So let's take a look at Vesuva's stats now that we've hit level 70, and then we'll take a look at Kasplat. So by the time we ended that trial where we hit level 70, it's taken, if my maths is correct, 20 minutes 4.7 seconds. We've reached champion level 15. I'm not allocating any points at the moment while we do this comparison of where we are at the end of that. I think that is going to accelerate much more quickly due to the medals of knowledge. We have where are we? 42% more experience with a 200% booster is 116% extra. So that will tell early on. As far as the other stats, our damage is at 7358 to 9549, power 916 is 458% extra damage. Haste 831 is 3.8 hits per second. Our critical rating, this is a base value for medal, or with the medals that I've got, at 197 or 6.2. No medals would be 5%, so for me it's 12 hits in every 1000 will be criticals, which I don't think is much. Crit damage is 33% higher than a no medalled account. Our vitality 164, life increased by 10,660 for a total life of 15,793. That's quite healthy. That should do us for a while. We will need to socket some eventually, but hopefully we'll be able to get to 60 without needing to do too much. Armour 3787 or 71.6% less damage taken. And experience is sitting at 2113% at the moment, so that is going to be a big factor for a while. But as you need more experience to level up, the gap's going to close again. But yes, you could definitely gain more champion levels through the medals of knowledge, purely because you can run higher experience throughout. That one is a definite impact medal. What I'll do is I'll just stick on these points. They're going to go exactly the same for both characters. I'll be running a Fire Lily Death from Above build, so as soon as we've got Grand Magister's command weapons through completing Troll 20 and using both the cubes, I'll switch out Blizzard for Frost Nova for our shatters, 2 shatters, but for now, since we don't have any GMC weapons, it'll be Blizzard in there. The other thing is that this character got quite lucky with the drops, so 7 marker titans sitting there ready for when we have a bit of gold to craft the missing pieces that we'll have for the epic set. So definitely going to need a Igniter sash. There'll be 2 pieces of ELR, and then these will be replaced as well. So there's enough marker titans to do that, so this character is going to be in a slight advantage on that front. I'll jump over to Kasplat and see how he's looking. And here we are with Kasplat. So when we finished that trial, 22 minutes 32.5 seconds to 70. So 2.5 minutes slower, playing the same process. Not the end of the world. That's probably a couple of EXP farming trials. So not a massive problem for getting to 70 at least. Our champion level is 3. It's going to drop behind quite quickly to start with, because It's not a great deal of experience to level up early doors, so we are going to see Vesuva push ahead very quickly, and then we'll be playing catch up and gaps will close again. In terms of stats, damage 6669 to 8682. That's about 1,000 less than the medalled character, which isn't, we're not seeing a problem with that in the runs at all. Power overall 842, 421%. It was 458 on the medalled account, so not a great deal of difference there. We saw right at the start that the medalled account did 3 times as much damage as the non-medalled account. That's closed to very similar amounts of damage. Haste 3.7 hits per second, so that's in reality 3.5 compared to the 3.8, which is in reality 3.75 on medals, so again 1 hit every 4 seconds. Crit rating is base value for a level 70, 158. It's 5% throughout, so that's never changed. Crit damage 200%. Vitality is 80 through what we've got socketed. Our total life 8968. That seemed to be enough for now. It's going to need to be increased. Armour 3040. Again, we've got things that need to have been socketed to help push that up. 67% compared with, what was it, 71.6, so 4.6% more damage is taken on this character. Once we have Grand Magister's command, not Grand Magister's command, the ELR 4-piece, that will become negligible as well due to Elemental Fury reducing damage. Life on hit is a problem, but we're going to get 1,000 of that through champion levels soon. Our experience gained 1901, so that's about 200% behind, so we are going to see this character take a bit longer to gain its champion levels. I'll be assigning champion levels exactly the same way, so haste first and then purely power. It'll be life, armour, life on hit, life regen. I'll start off with experience, probably movement speed. I'll make a decision on whether I need some ability rate at that stage, and then extra gold last of all. This character, 2 marker titans, not as lucky as the other character, will be enough to get the Igniter Sash, which is going to be very important. I'm going to prioritise that as the first crafted item. There will all be epics to start with. Death from Above epic set. Once we can craft legendary stuff, then a legendary set, and we'll switch over to a Frost Beam build, and hopefully both characters can go to farm Troll 105. So as far as the next steps, it's either once we hit trial 60, not trial 60, although that gives us the last cube, it'll be either a case of when they both have the epic set built, or when they are both at champion level 700. Probably make more sense to have the epic set and possibly both at champion level 700. We'll see. But I'll definitely show how Vesuva has pulled ahead in champion levels. At that point, see where they are at trial 60. I'm waffling. It sounds like this is completely unplanned, which is closer to the truth than you'd imagine. So I will stop for now. recording, I shall get them running up to Troll 60. Perhaps I will drop in their runs of Troll 20 or something, I don't know. There should be a side-by-side clip coming up anyway, and you'll know as much as I do at the moment which one it's going to be. I'll stop waffling and we'll be back shortly. So here we are with Troll 20. I decided to record this one as it's the last run where we don't have Grand Magister command weapons. Again, neither character is having any problem with killing enemies, although Vesuva in this case has a much better map, so he's going to absolutely fly through this one. And we will see an impact of the medals on Kasplat, taking some heavy damage when getting hit by arrows. There's a point coming up very shortly, I believe, down in this corner where he nearly dies, so a lot of health gone there, but able to quickly kill them. Over on Vesuva, nice group of mobs there, plenty to draw out Kara. There she is, and it's a nice quick kill. Just waiting for her to go down so Vesuva can get out, and now has Grand Magister command weapons thanks to the ephemeral cubes. Kasplat still searching out this last group of mobs. There's Kara, take her down. So next up will be a first look at Trial 60, where we will have the gear, or the final cube. So this is the first look at Trial 60, so both characters are very squishy for this stage. Both have the Grand Magister's commands, so we have Shatter and Thermal Shock coming into play, so Frost Nova is now the preferred skill to guarantee Northern Wind. We'll see that Vesuva nearly died there, as I said, very squishy. Once this trial is complete, that problem goes away for both characters. The reason for that is at the moment they have 3 pieces of Elemental Lords Regalia gear. The 4-piece bonus gives them Elemental Fury, which stacks up to 12 times every time they cast Immolate or Frost Nova or Death from Above. Once they have that gear, they'll get a random number of stacks of Elemental Fury, which will increase the damage that they put out and greatly reduce the amount of damage that comes in. So that will be a big help. So Vesuva already on to Kara, just has a better map again, being out in the jungle rather than in a cave like Kasplat. Still takes a decent chunk of damage from Kara when hit. I think move around there, waiting for Death from Above, and then the Thermal Shock kills Kara. So Vesuva is done, has all the gear. Kasplat is on Kara, those hits hurt. I think I dodge a couple of these attacks once I'm down and can be damaged again. I say that. It's just standing there getting hit. There we are, there's a dodge, there's another one. Something that you have to do on very high trolls. And Thermal Shock will finish her there. So next up will be Troll 60 again, but this time with the added bonus of Elemental Fury. So here is Troll 60, now with 4 pieces of Elemental Lords Regalia, so both characters will have Elemental Fury. You start off very squishy, but as you build up those stacks, your toughness very quickly negates most of the incoming damage. So you'll see that as they take hits, both characters through this run, far less damage coming. I don't think either of them will be in a position of almost dying, as we saw in the last run of Troll 60. Should get through them quite quickly as well. Kasplat way ahead at the moment, although it's about to change because Vesuva rounded up a huge amount of mobs, just took the lead. Sakara spawned, and as we see, basically tickling Vesuva now. And over on the right, Kasplat's drawn out Kara, and again it's just a tickle when her auto attack hits. No need to dodge. So Vesuva is done, and Kasplat very close behind. With this thermal shock will finish up as well. So now it's just a case of completing some experience farming epic gear and getting the characters up to champion level 700, and at that point we shall meet back up for a final comparison for this video. And welcome back. So I think we're at a good point to do the final comparison for this video at least, and then we'll pick up with some more runs and things next time out. So although Vesuva has reached champion level 702, I have assigned just 700 champion levels for now. So all of defense is complete, all of utilities complete, and then on the offense tab 100 into haste and 150 into power. That's so we can do a direct comparison with Kasplat. So it has taken Vesuva 1 hour 4 minutes 7 seconds, or 146.4 seconds to reach champion level 700 or 702. On the stats front, damage 9415 to 14119, power is 1216, damage increased by 608%, our haste is 1816 at 5 hits per second. We'll ignore critical rating since we're not using that at all. I think at the end of the series I'll give an example of what a crit build would look like and how that's absolutely meaningless medal. Moving down, vitality 592 for a total life of 60,751, armour 6058 for 80.2 less damage. Life on hit is 1208. We do have 208 from medals. That's completely irrelevant at this stage. 200 points, 1000 is more than enough, so we're not actually gaining anything from that. Ability rate 1438, and experience gained is 2793. So I'll throw in those extra 2 champion levels so I don't forget for next time. I will switch over to Kasplat and we'll take a look and see how that one is. Actually, what I should say is I am building the toughness towards 400,000, which I want on both characters, because that is what I like for farming at Troll 105, which is the aim for both of these characters. So it should be slightly easier with medals to reach that. This amount is perfectly adequate at the moment with farming Trial 80, and the same goes with Kasplat, farming Trial 80 at the moment. So let's switch over and take a look at Kasplat's stats. So here we are with Kasplat, no medals, 1 hour and 11 minutes to reach champion level 700. So again, 150, 100, and everything else is now filled in. So stat wise, damage is 8903 to 13352. Power 1142, increased by 571. Haste rating 1776, giving us 5 hits per second. Now we saw with the medalled account, our haste there was 1816, 40 more, but exactly the same hits per second, 5 hits per second. So our haste medal is now doing absolutely nothing. So right at the start of the event, when we ran Shores of Hope and we had 3 hits per second on the medalled account and 1 hit per second on no medals, that rapidly degraded down to 1 hit every 4 seconds and stayed like that throughout most of the 1 to 70 process. And here we are at champion level 700 and we've got exactly the same hits per second. Our vitality 502, total life 51974, which is I think about 8,000 less than the medalled account, but it is more than adequate for Troll 80. We've definitely got enough toughness for that, probably enough for 90. Honestly, we could go run 110 with the toughness that we've got, but we would be squishy, so I'm still looking to build that. Armour is 5199, which is 77.6% less damage. So what's that? It's about 800 less armour, but that works out at 2.6% overall, which isn't a great deal. So whilst initially the medalled account was extremely tanky compared to the non-medalled account, now that we are part way, about a third, well I'd say more than a third, approaching the halfway stage of EXP farming, our armour is in a good position, more than adequate for where we are. I will be trying to push that up a bit more with some sockets, with the brilliant diamonds as we get them. Life on hit 1000, so it's 208 less than the medalled account, utterly irrelevant since our armour and our life are more than enough. We don't take too much damage in any case. And experience gained is 2719, so about 74% difference between the two, but not a great deal of difference. I think what will be a better comparison, I think I'll run the clock down for both accounts down to 7 hour marks. That'll be 2 hours in, and next time out we'll start with them 2 hours in to see the difference in champion level gain. Now I have said that you can't really compare trials. See that both characters are running trial 80. Here's Kasplat, trial 80, 114, no medals whatsoever. There's Vesuva, 8 seconds slower, with an identical build. I say identical, there is one tiny difference. Kasplat, we have exactly the same legendary items. I've gone with Integralis, Fire Lily and Talisman of Power. Frost damage is on them, even though we're on a Death from Above build at the moment. We'll be switching over to Frostbeam for some higher EXP farming later, so those are all have frost damage. So the one difference between them at the moment is that Kasplat has this epic bracer, which has got frost damage added in, whereas Vesuva is hasten experience only on a rare. So we're getting larger thermal shocks from Kasplat as a result, which is why they're slightly faster at this stage despite having no medals. The only reason that Vesuva doesn't have an epic bracer is that they have got to Troll 700 faster than Kasplat, which means they have run fewer trials and had less materials and less gold as a result, so not been able to craft that. I think what I'll do is ignore crafting an epic for Vesuva until we make a bracer of mastery for Vesuva. Kasplat will have a bracer of mastery just as soon as we hit Trial 100. Reason for that is Trial 100 is going to give us 15 glory, and Kasplat is sitting with 95, so they will both be running with a Frostbeam bracer of mastery for 105 when we get there. Both need jewellery as well, or the rings finishing as well. Necklaces, I've gone with exactly the same stats on both, so vitality, experience, haste and ability rate. There's not a great deal of difference between the two characters on those, sort of 1 or 2 points here or there. So unsurprisingly, identical builds running identical processes or strategies are next door to each other on the leaderboard at the 700 stage. So if you've got any questions or comments, feel free to ask down below, and thank you very much for watching.